Once again, we've come to the stable. And once again, we've come empty-handed. It's Jesus' birthday, but we buy and give presents to just about everybody else in the world except Jesus. Does anybody, when making a Christmas gift shopping list, include Jesus on the list? Closest we might come is writing a check for charity, and that's a good thing to do. We not only approach the stable empty-handed, we are often bold enough to extend our empty hands, hoping that Jesus will have a gift for us. We come here asking Jesus for this or that, asking Jesus for this relative, this friend. We come asking for gifts. But of course, Jesus invites us to do just this. Jesus was born into humanity, into our flesh and blood, precisely to give himself to us, to empty himself out for us, to be broken for us like a loaf of bread, to satisfy our soul's hunger, to be poured out for us like a cup of wine, slaking the parched thirst in our spirits. He came to us in the darkness of night to be the gift of light in our shadows. He came to us in obscurity that we might find the gift of his presence wherever it is we roam or stray. He came to us as a helpless child, a gift we can hold in our arms, close to the breast. He came to us in poverty to remind us that all of his gifts are freely given. He came to us as a newborn child, and in his innocence, we find the gift of hope. I wonder, is there any gift Jesus has to offer the world tonight? Any gift more needed, more precious than the gift of hope? Consider the hopelessness in our broken world, especially in the third world, especially in those places where there is war day by day, and the poor and the innocent are the first to suffer. Consider the hopelessness of our divided nation. Consider the hopelessness in our individual broken dreams and failed expectations. The hurt that's carried in the hearts and minds of so many who come to this table tonight. Hope. We need it. What is hope? Let me share with you how one theologian answered that question. He wrote, "Hope is the intuition that imagination is more real and reality less real than it looks." Hope is the intuition, I skipped one. Hope is the hunch that the overwhelming brutality of facts that oppress and repress us, that brutality is not the last word. Hope is the suspicion that reality is more complex than even the realists want us to believe. That the frontiers of the possible are not determined by the limits of the actual. And that in miraculous and unexplained ways, life is always opening up to us, opening us up to freedom and resurrection. I know, that's pretty thick and dense for Christmas Eve, huh? Well, I think it is too. So I'm going to translate it, or try to translate it into our own experience. What is hope? Hope is my intuition, the feeling in my bones that my imagination, my dream, my longing may be more real than the so-called reality of daily life. Hope is my hunch, it's my inkling that the trials and troubles I bear will not have the last word. Hope is my suspicion that while science explains many things, it doesn't and can't explain everything. Hope is my suspicion that the possibility of what I might achieve in my life need not be constrained by my own limitations. Hope is my suspicion that in a miraculous and unexplained way, life is always waiting to open me up to more than I thought my life might ever be or become. Hope helps us believe. Hope helps you and me believe that there is more. Hope helps us believe that there is always more. Always more than we imagined or dreamed or expected. And we believe that the heart of the hope that is ours was born in a stable in Bethlehem some 2,000 years ago. We believe that there was so much more in that stable than just another newborn baby. There was the Prince of Peace, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, in a stable. And we believe that Jesus waits for us to come tonight empty-handed, so that he might indeed fill our hands and our hearts with whatever is the hope that each of us needs tonight. But we who come to the stable must take care not to get stuck at the stable. This is a terrible thing that plagues Christians. We get stuck at the stable. We get stuck at Christmas. We so easily forget that the stable was temporary housing for the Holy Family while they were in Bethlehem. And then it was back to Nazareth, where life went on. Jesus grew up, matured, began to preach the gospel, the good news in which we find our hope. If we get stuck in the stable, we will never know the whole story. No more than the story of my birth or yours is the story of our whole lives. Neither is the story of Christmas the whole story of Jesus' message. The stable is only where it begins. Christ's story then walks the path of wisdom and truth, the path of suffering and dying and rising. And it's this very path he walks that gives us hope for eternal life. For hope is the gift that teaches us that there is always, always more. Well, tonight, Christ's path has led us far from that stable in Bethlehem to this table. From stable to table, where once again, as he did some 2,000 years ago, Jesus will make a gift of himself into our empty hands, in his body and blood, in the bread and cup of the Eucharist. In Jesus, and in Jesus alone, let us find our hope this Christmas Eve.